Welcome to the first set of the day. Gamer Legion A, Viper and TaToH versus Barles+Valas, the Brawlers, the Black Forest duo, whatever you want to call them. They will be matching up against Gamer Legion A. It's going to be a tough one for them, but you never know. There is enough diversity on this map, or in this map pack overall, to potentially yield surprises, although make no mistake, the advantage is probably on the side of Gamer Legion by a massive margin. This is a Group A. Tomorrow, we'll have the other Group A match, which is ACM and Say My Name versus Nelly and Jordan. But before that, we have Gamer Legion A versus Brawlers, followed by Gamer Legion B versus Swords. With that being said, let's join up with Ornlu, who is going to co-cast me for the day, so we can actually get his insights on the draft.
Good morning, sunshine.
Hello there.
Hey, man.
Okay, your voice is good. Alright, so I will jump right into the middle of it and ask you about the draft itself. How do you feel about this? I mean, not the format, because you always have to praise the format, because, you know, you're invited to co-cast this tournament, so you have to say it's a good format, but I was specifically targeting this draft.
I don't recall signing any contract. No, I do like the format, though. You know that. I don't know. They pick some civs. They pick some good civs, and then they pick some bad civs for their opponents, even though the bad civs aren't actually that bad.
Well, have you had your coffee yet in the morning?
I have it right next to me right now.
Yeah, because from this evaluation, I can safely say that you haven't drank it already, so...
I don't know, is there anything too wild?
No.
Well, I guess Melee being picked is a little bit on the odd side, like for GLA themselves, but other than that...
It's for Forest Pond. In 2 pools 1,
Oh, yeah.
they actually went for... Like, Viper went for crazy Melee Fishboo on that map. They don't have Japanese, though, in the first pool. One of the things that, at that time, Team Secret did was go Japanese pocket on Cape of Storms with Viper fish booming, and then Forest Pond was Melee fish boom.
Well, Melee are going to be pretty good on that map, as it's both a water map and an arena-style map, and Melee are great on both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Sicilians, Celts, Burmese, Incas, Turks. Other side, Burgundians, Koreans, Cumans, and Spanish given to the opponent will be an interesting one, that's for sure, because those maps are actually very, very good overall on the listed maps, at least.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing with the AoE 2 balance right now, is that, especially compared to 2 pools 1, the Civ balance is a lot better than it used to be. So there are a lot of times when I was, like, casting matches and I wasn't looking at the draft, where I wasn't even sure what the good Civ and the bad Civ were. Like, you know, they were both good.
Yeah, and we also aimed for a map pack that has a lot of diversity. I can safely say to chat right now that I also took Ornlu's insights when it comes to designing the map pack, so... like,
Are you sure you want to make that public? I mean, it might lose a little bit of validity, a little bit of credibility. In,
No. If people complain why are there so bad maps in a tournament, I can just say it was because Ornlu said so.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Alright, are you ready? I am paused at 10 seconds in the first game, so...
Well, let me load up game number 1. I'm on the right patch, don't worry, I did that. I know, you know, standards are not the highest with me, but we got her done. Alright. I am ready for a countdown when you are.
Alright, so let's do a countdown with 3, 2, 1, let's go. Alright, so welcome everybody to the first game of this best of 5 in between Barles+Valas versus Viper and TaToH. Gamer Legion being the massive favorites in their group stage game, but we'll see what I think the surprise player of Hidden Cup 4 will do, teaming up with Valas.
Well, we shall see. It's the number 1 seed versus the number 16 seed, right?
Sort of. In reality, it's not directly seeded if you think about that. The way that the groups were decided is that we have 2 invited teams and 2 qualifier teams in each group. So the direct seeding is not necessarily that much relevant, and you could make a case for other potential teams being 15, 16, but yes, if you would just have a direct seeding, this would be somewhere around like that.
That is fine. I think that there's at least some chance that this is a competitive series and probably more likely to be competitive than some of the series yesterday. So I am fine with that. But here in the east of the map, in the yellow, as the Koreans will be Barles, the super secret hidden cup player that you mentioned. And of course, his teammate will be the Finnish up-and-coming player Valas in the North Red Franks.
And they have a very, very good Civ matchup here. So Koreans is an excellent archer civilization. Franks top the Arabia Civ. This is a very, very nice combo. Other side is Chinese for TaToH in blue. Probably the best Civ for tuples because of its versatility. And Viper is playing Sicilians in green, which could actually be your cavalry Civ here, just using archers as TaToH. Although you could actually go archers as well with Sicilians and then go cavalry with Chinese.
Yeah, I suppose you could do that. I mean, neither really have access to paladins. And I guess Chinese do have access to camels, whereas Sicilians don't, which doesn't really make sense. But regardless, Chinese do archers better than Sicilians do archers. And, you know, cavalry are the bigger beneficiaries of the damage reduction bonus, so I imagine it'll be Viper going for the cavalry.
Or he's just gonna dungeon rush, because one thing we shouldn't forget that, well, Viper and TaToH are the massive favorites in this one, so they might not play all their fancy strategies just yet, and just go for a little bit more, you know, light-handed, so to say, gameplay here.
Yeah, we'll see. An interesting dichotomy between these two teams is that for Brawlers, we had them picking their pool A Civ, or, you know, their good Civ as Franks, and with GL.A, they did it with their Archer Civ, which is probably going to be Chinese here. So, like I was telling people yesterday, is that a recent trend we've been seeing, we saw this all throughout 2v2 World Cup, is that it's really Archer dominated. And teams seem to be wanting to pick their better Civ as their Archer Civ as opposed to their Cavalry Civ, usually.
It's interesting because in 2+1, that was the direct opposite. It was always the Cavalry Civ being picked first, because it is easier to secure a Paladin Civ as pool 1 and then plug something in as your Archer Civ. There's a higher chance that you have like a Civ that has reasonable Arbalasts than it is to have a Civ that actually has Paladins from pool 2. I feel like Chinese is not something that we should draw a lot of conclusions from though, because Chinese is good with both. Like, it's one of the rare Civs that is excellent with Cavalry. Obviously, no Paladin, but still insane eco. And as Bagum pointed out, this is an excellent team combination from the perspective that the Chinese team bonus is also given to the farms of Viper, added to the Sicilian farming bonus, and you're gonna get to farms with like, I don't know, 700 food on them.
Oh, come on, Lita. It would be 970 food with full upgrades.
I didn't know I actually invited Nilly for today to co-cast, because this is some serious Nilly math over here.
Well, at least it's not like actual math, and it's just, you know, it's really just tech tree stuff, so...
I'm a simple man. I just look at the tech tree while I'm casting. Or pause the game like Hera does.
Yeah, that's called going full Hera.
Okay.
Anyway, for a moment I had some panic because I saw 5 villagers going forward for Viper, but then they just went to go build a lumber camp. So,
yes,
moment of panic averted. Oh wait, that villager's mining stone.
Interesting. I feel like that's just because it's walking back home, and you want to do something with that villager. I've seen this, I think, from maybe Song yesterday, that he made a wall. Before walking back empty-handed, he mined some stone, so he does something with that villager.
I guess it's just one way of looking at things. And I guess if you bring the stone back, you'll have enough extra stone for some outposts.
Yeah, that also
Always
could be the case.
Consider.
So it looks like TaToH's going direct archers here, with Chinese goes for some fairly reasonable walls. Overall, he's got a fairly defendable base. Other side, Viper isn't really going for a lot of walls, and that's an interesting stable spot that he's gonna go for.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird because you'd want it normally in front of your forage bushes or fruit bushes.
Yeah.
That way you can get more notice if enemy units are incoming, and it will just block more area from enemy archers. But overall, seems like the wood lines aren't really the greatest for the Viper, having to go with
Oh.
the forward one.
Two scouts from Barles+Valas jumping on TaToH, and that is one villager lost from our Spanish player.
Yeah, that's certainly not ideal. And I think the bigger deal, even than that, is just the archery range being delayed so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing that you pick off the villager. More importantly, this archer range is only built with one villager, which means that that's going to be delayed quite heavily if you compare it to Barles, who already has it up. And remember that Barles also has the extra archer armor on his units, so that's something to pay attention for as well.
Yeah, nice little bonus for Koreans. They also get the little bit of a wood discount. Honestly, Koreans are just a solid archer civ.
Yeah, it's actually a very underrated archer civilization. Probably not S tier, but it's actually about an A+ tier as well.
Yep, I put them on a similar level to probably like Vikings and Malay. Maybe even Portuguese.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Portuguese are just a touch better because the gold discount is slightly better than the wood discount. But anyways, Valas already has free scouts out on the field. Viper a little bit slower getting to scout numbers. Apparently he's not going for full scout aggression. You see that stable is idle for quite a while.
Yeah, Viper seems quite content to just sit back, wall up, going in and taking the extra deer equivalents, even going to be milling them. That's a classic Viper move.
And TaToH loses the second villager to the scouts over here, so...
Oh no.
It looks like Viper is going for the eco-heavy approach, which could help, because if he beats his opponent to cast age, that could be big, but that requires TaToH not to die to the scouts.
Yeah, this looks a little bit like a USAE game right now. Because I see one player not walled and dying, and the other one just sitting at home comfortably, booming.
Yeah, and now we have archers moving forward as well from Barles. TaToH is sitting on 6 archers, 7 for Barles, but Barles does have +1/+1, whereas TaToH doesn't have any upgrades on them.
Yeah, his archers are just chilling in his ranges right now, so that at least they are safe, but not really able to help out a whole lot. Viper sending in his scouts to help out his teammate. A lot of the scouts of Valas are quite low, but still not going to be something you feel super great about, as Barles' team is actually a couple villas ahead. And what did the ostrich ever do to you, man?
Well, it's TaToH's ostrich, so no surprise about that being picked off. What's more surprising is that Viper went for an early market, and the thing is that with Sicilians, and in general with the scouts play, you would assume that you're going to see Blacksmith first for scale barding potentially, but no, it's a market from Viper, interestingly.
Well, there's the blacksmith. So just wanted the market, I suppose.
Yeah, but what for? That's the question. Why do you want the market in this situation? We will never know scale
maybe
barding.
just for the team vision, but yeah, no, I'm a little confused about it as well. +1 defense coming in here from Valas, who's doing everything about as normal as you could ask for, and the blacksmith is even going to be delayed just a little bit. There are no spearmen in this army, so you might have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, and that skateboarding delayed is gonna hurt quite badly, because Valas has Frankish scouts, so he's got the extra HP on them, and he's gonna have skateboarding too, so this could be tricky, although they might get sandwiched in between two armies right now.
Their upgrades may be better, but the tactical positioning here of GL is going to be far superior. Notice Viper trying to cut off the scouts from diving onto the archers of TaToH because the TaToH's archers have no upgrades, so I think that was a really smart...
Yeah, we might have lost Ornlu here, but yeah, you just said it was a really smart and then didn't finish the sentence.
No, I definitely did finish the sentence.
Okay, then it's just Discord acting wacky. Still, you're absolutely right, like, in basically any stage of the game, the archers are a lot more valuable than the scouts are, so every time you trade scouts to archers is actually a good one for you.
Yep, and that goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, where it's like, it's all about those archers, man. We saw that play out yesterday. It's just, okay, let's just go for like 3-4 range archers and get like 70 of them if you're Dogao, and then just kill them.
I think we got 100 archers at some point. That was That was something special. Anyways, one thing worth noting is that both players from Brawlers will actually click up faster to Castle Age than Gamer Legion will. And Franks don't even have to invest into Bloodlines, so that could be a nice little early advantage for our mixed Polish-Finnish team here.
Yep. Although Valas does lose the rest of his scouts, which is somewhat unfortunate. It is 23 military to 8, double the archer numbers here from TaToH. And this could be a bit of an issue, potentially.
Yeah, exactly. Those archer numbers don't feel very, very good for Barles, although he's gonna have +2 defense on them immediately. But keep in mind that TaToH just clicked up, so those archers will be pretty much undefended against the knights for a while, and those still don't have any upgrades on them. So the only way TaToH actually reached Castle Age this fast is that he completely skipped all the upgrades on those archers.
He also sold 100 stone at the market, which again just further exemplifies just going full archers, not really adding an eco with the archer-making player. Viper, surprisingly, the last player to click up, which is not what you'd expect. Usually the scouts player would be faster in clicking up, but, well, they're going to try and apply some pressure right now, but 4 knights and then maybe coming in with your teammates' crossbowmen, they shouldn't really have too much trouble cleaning this up.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with those crossbows having +2. In fact, you could make a case for Barles heading towards TaToH instead, because the knights should be more than satisfactory to hold, and that crossbow upgrade is very late for Barles over there. He could have destroyed that army much easier with crossbows. Still, he's got the better upgrades, so this should be an easy fight for him, and he could be heading towards TaToH immediately.
Well, he was able to nab 2 archers for 1, so that's certainly something. But TaToH, he's just about there to Castle Age, and Viper isn't that far off either, and with no extra TCs added, there's still going to need to be some sort of timing, I feel, from the Brawlers guys, because against GLA specifically, they're not going to want to take this late.
Yeah, exactly. The faster you finish games, the better for you. Like, Gamer Legion overall is just better in every stage of the game, but the faster the games are, the probably bigger chance you have TaToH takes the hill here firing down hills. He doesn't have any armor on those crossbows, though. Thumbring coming in early for him, though. Something that TaToH loves to do.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. But just going to be poking away at the army of Brawlers just a little bit. Viper having to retreat with those Lumberjacks. And that is a 3rd stable, actually, here for the Viper. So realizing that he's behind in terms of Castle Age compared to his counterpart Valas, so he's got to catch up real quick with these Knights, instantly grabbing +2 defense as well.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do here, especially against Franks. In this one big fight coming in, and the archer numbers aren't that great for Barles once again, so that's quite troublesome. And this is once again a better fight for GL.
It all goes back to the fact that Barles lost those archers earlier during the sandwich. Like, yeah, they got those faster Castle Age times, but it really seems like a lot of 2v2s these days is just all about the archer numbers, and TaToH's been able to preserve more of his than has his opponent, and that is going to be another big cleanup.
Yeah, exactly. And now it looks like we're going to have a much more eco-focused approach from Viper. So he went triple stables, goes for fast husbandry to be able to chase down archers easier, but also free TCs. So we spent a lot
of course, heavy plow. Got to get all that farm bonus.
Oh my god. Sicilian farms with heavy plow and Chinese team bonus, man.
Yeah, that's already better than crop rotation.
So, by the way, Viper has 2 spearmen right next to the TC of Valas here, just chilling, which actually makes some sense. Because
if you don't think about it, yeah.
It's basically free scouting information for you. You know exactly that your opponent is a TC there.
And it makes sense for Valas to keep those spearmen alive because, you know, they're nice guys. Feel nice guys.
Well, they used to be nice guys. You can put it that way.
Oh, well, there we go. Anyway, Vala's going to be under a ton of pressure. Does have a fair amount of knights with +2 defense, but to me, the big concern is just this massive number of crossbowmen from TaToH.
The bigger concern is that those yellow crossbows are cut off from the rest of the army, and you don't want to leave your crossbows out on the open field, but that applies to both teams, and this could be a good trade for Brawlers.
It could be, but it probably won't be.
I feel like there is more blue crossbows dead here than yellow ones. So this could be worth it for them overall.
The military numbers still favoring GLA a little bit with the closer reinforcements. They will manage to survive a little bit. A lot of these knights are incredibly low HP. Nicely done from Barles trying to pull back the weakened ones. And wow, that's pulling back 3 almost dead knights. And if he can get those healed up with the monk, and in fact, there goes the monastery, that could potentially be a really nice swing in favor of Brawlers.
We'll have free TCs for everybody very soon here. Once again, now the pressure is in the face of Barles, and I'm not sure if that TC goes up on the stone.
Well, it's going to be tricky. A little bit of micro-nerding coming out here from Barles. And, uh-oh. Spaghetti-o.
Yeah, he's trying to pick off the crossbows over here, so maybe he can quick wall against the knights, but that doesn't seem to happen. It's 13 knights against 12, but on this screen you only have 6 from the red player.
Yep, upgrades are even between the two of them, and yeah, this is already incredibly uncomfortable here for Barles, who's once again getting his crossbow numbers reset.
Yeah, he needs a 4th range. Like, he has 3 crossbows queued up in all 3 of his ranges. A 4th range would be much, much needed. It looks like...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. There's the 4th one. But
and like, this just goes to show, like, it's literally all about just like, okay, how many ranges can I produce archers? Just more archers, more.
eco-wise, the two teams are head-to-head, so 130 versus 129. But army numbers seem to favor Gamer Legion by a tiny bit.
Indeed, that does appear to be the case. Also having this nice hill, and also as Koreans, you're going to want to be getting onto stone, at least in a reasonable time. That way you can switch over eventually into your war wagons, because they're going to be better than anything that Chinese can deal with.
Now, the more interesting thing is that Barles decided to go for the front stone, because he didn't scout the back stone. The stone at the back for him would be slightly more reasonable and should be easy to TC, but he doesn't see that because he doesn't have scouting.
Yeah, that's definitely not ideal. But, uh-oh, in comes the Knights of Viper, and some of them, I guess. Now they go back.
This could be a big sandwich, though. It's 20 knights against only 17 on this screen. But they have to commit to this fight hill on the side of Gamer Legion as well.
Yep, upgrades, I believe, are identical for everybody.
2 conversions! That's gonna be 2 conversions, and that's a huge swing in that battle, I believe.
It definitely could be all the difference. A couple more knights coming in here from the Viper. We have Barles trying to micro back into this little nook once again. He's been doing a very nice job of that in both fights so far. And well,
look at that! Look at that, my man. I mean, considering the fact that this is close to being Seed 1 versus Seed 16, this is not necessarily one-sided for Gamer Legion. In fact, this is a very, very competitive game so far. GL leading by 10 villagers now, though.
Yep, military count slightly in favor of Brawlers, but yeah, this has been a very competitive game so far. Both teams able to take good fights against the other. That was a really, really nice fight there for Brawlers, but now we have another scuffle going on here near the base of Barles, who has importantly only been on 2 TCs, and at this rate is going to start to fall behind economically. Viper also with cleaner macro than Valas. I mean, no shade at Valas. Viper has some of the best macro in the world, so he also is working with around an 8 villager advantage over his counterpart.
Yeah, but on the other hand, because it's only 2 TCs, Barles will be able to hook up to Imperial right now, and that could be the moment that they're waiting for. An Imperial Age power spike, +4 defense immediately for those orbs, and TaToH is gonna be at least a minute or so behind to Imperial, so if they don't lose those crossbow numbers, this could be the way to go for Barles in this one. And it looks like there will be a big Knights counterattack towards potentially Viper.
Well, we shall see. Indeed, Barles clicking up to Imperial Age. Did Viper just... Oh no, he just grabbed Iron Casting, so he will have the upgrade advantage over his opponent, but has to be a little bit careful right now.
He also wants to go into Imperial, though, and while Barles is going to beat TaToH to Imperial, it looks like Viper is going to beat Valas to Imp.
Indeed he will, and that's going to be super important, because you don't want to fall behind against Franks, because then they'll drop a castle, then they'll get Chivalry, and then you'll be very sad. So this is certainly something that is going to be very nice for Viper, but he is still down by 5 knights. So he has to be quite careful. He's having to send his villagers on a little bit of an adventure just to be away from that gold mine.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there on those villagers, but apparently that's gonna be a couple of villagers lost from Viper. And honestly, as I said, it's a very, very competitive game so far. A couple of villagers on the wood line also get picked off by Valas, so villager count head-to-head.
Yeah, it's definitely competitive, although we definitely see TaToH pulling ahead of Barles, but that's of course because of faster Imperial Age time.
Oh, the Knights will jump on TaToH's crossbows, and that could hurt so much.
It could, but Viper could honestly do the same. And that's a really nice little nook, and it's all about these nooks, man.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it, though? I mean, this is still a decent fight, I would say, for Brawlers. The problem is that they want to keep that yellow army big, and once again, they clean up TaToH. At the beginning of this fight, this was something like 30 crossbows for Barles and 42 for TaToH. Now it's 20 to 25.
Yep, but now the Knight numbers, which were in favor of Valas, now favor the Viper.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the important thing is that those crossbow numbers were preserved as Imperial Age came in, and then we should have around 12 Arbalest in just a second. We do have a castle up here from the Viper.
And TaToH is also going to castle this hill over here. Trade being set up by Barles. He is on stone, so he could actually go for his own castle and war wagons eventually. But as you said, the Cavalier will soon come in for Viper. At this point, I think Valas indeed should just target the stables and slow down Viper's progression towards Cavalier as much as possible. And keep in mind that Franks have Paladin, whereas there is no Paladin for the Viper's Sicilians.
Yeah, it seems like in the migration from Normandy to Sicily, the Normans just forgot how to make paladins. They knew, but then they're just like, oh, this warm, sunny Mediterranean air is so nice. Wait, what's a paladin? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Paladin or Cavalier almost in for Viper at +4, so I feel like this is the time to retreat for Valas, because they are risking losing their entire army here.
It's definitely really tricky. Cavalier is on the way here for the Viper. I also saw Guard Tower coming in for TaToH because it's TaToH.
But guess what?
Don't really get that.
But he's up against Keeps from his opponent. It's gonna be fully upgraded Cavalier from Viper in a moment. We also have quite a lot of ARPs from TaToH. It's 46 ARPs against 43, and those Knights don't have the upgrades yet for Valas. They don't have the upgrades.
No, they do not. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
This, I feel like... I was looking at this fight for quite a while, and I feel like if they take down 2 stables and then run away, that's fine. They might have risked too soon here, because now they have to sacrifice all their orbs, and that's not something that you want to see.
Almost certainly the game-deciding fight.
I feel like Brawlers might have gotten a little too greedy there, but there is Paladin for Valas, and also a Frankish Paladin in a moment. Well, it's actually 2 minutes, so that's the 2 minutes window that Gamer Legion needs for this one. I feel like, regardless of the fact that now GL is leading to a certain extent, I have to give credit for Brawlers for this. I mean, they're up against one of the strongest teams in the world, and oh man, they are actually playing really good.
Opponents, but unfortunately for them, they have half the military of their opponent. And yeah, we're going to have Viper running in with a ton of Cavalier. I really love how proactive these guys are in getting their trade up and running as well. Like, it's only 41 minutes and they already have their markets up, already starting to send trade cards. Like, that is some really nice planning.
Yeah, exactly. Now, indeed, Viper commits to this one. And this is the biggest problem of the Paladin, that you need so much time to get there. And until then, you can just get overrun by Cavalier. Something that Slavs also do quite well on this map, for example.
Have Chivalry with Franks, which helps a lot, but Valas was never able to pick that one up, and I feel like that's just such a critical upgrade. And uh-oh, that's a lot of miners also getting targeted who are going to delay the markets even further. That's going to be a double problem right there, and this is just so horrible for Brawlers.
Yeah, but 20 seconds away from Paladin, and that's the moment that they were waiting for. Paladin has to carry this one because numbers-wise, they're massively behind.
I mean, Paladins are good, but are Paladins better than Cavaliers when outnumbered 2 to 1? I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, and also there is quite a lot of orbs on the field. It's 35 orbs against 72. Upsong coming in here for Bars. So he actually wants to get a couple of towers in the face of TaToH.
Oh yeah, he's actually creeping forward with some Korean keeps. I'm certainly never going to say no to that. But TaToH already being very proactive and trebbing them, not letting that be a problem that goes out of control. TaToH also starting to wall off their own side of the map. Very nicely done from him.
Yeah.
But retreating now is GLA. They want to marshal their forces before taking on these paladins.
Yeah, exactly. I love how Viper actually sent Cavalier to both corners, delaying both markets, which helps immensely. The big fight is on, though.
Yes, it is, and I see 143 military to 75.
Yeah, I feel like losing all those Arbalasts multiple times was probably the final in the coffin for Barles+Valas. They're actually going for murder holes, but I feel like now murder holes is just a desperation thing.
Oh, man. Well, they might go for murder holes, but their whole army was just murdered.
Oh, man. And now it's light cap from the Frankish player, and that's a signal
That's
of a
not a good
white flag.
sign.
Yeah, exactly. Still, I mean, I didn't expect Brawlers to be this competitive until, like, late game. So, small things decided, especially that final fight at the beginning of Imperial was really crucial for Gamer Legion to be able to secure an army lead with that.
Yeah, things were looking fairly even before then, but just able to take that very decisive fight. And, well, yeah, these Arbalests hop into the castle! Retreat!
Oh, man. But, really, if Brawlers keep playing like this, there's a shot for them in this set, because the map diversity could allow them to lend some surprise, because you see that they're... like, the quality of their execution is actually fairly good, or at least competitive enough against GL. So, if they have some good game plan, maybe they can actually surprise GL here.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be very interested to see how they play on each other's home maps, because both of these teams are ones that I think will play better on their home maps than on Arabia, potentially. So we'll see how that goes, but right now, trebbing of the castle of Barles is underway. Neither team has actually been able to expand their army compositions beyond just archers and cavalry. Well, there's one bombard cannon that's about to be very, very sad indeed. Yeah, this is rough.
Yeah, there's some counter raids coming in here from Valas. They're trying to crawl their way back into the game. Viper still at 40 Cavalier, and they destroyed all the markets. I think the main difference is that GL is establishing trade, although they might run out of gold soon as well.
Viper is well going to be doing something similar. They can always grab Scootage to increase their their gold count. Yeah, that's at least something. I will say that the military numbers do seem to be fading a little bit for GLA, and there's castle coming up in the back here for Barles, but yeah, these Cavalier raids from Viper have just been so effective. There are currently 0 markets that are active for Brawlers.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the Eco KD for Viper, killed 93 Eco, lost 17 only. So really, Viper has been extremely efficient with those Cavalier. That being said, TaToH's getting counterattacked quite hard over here, and guess what? TaToH's gonna be off from gold, and they don't really have a good trade either. I mean, there's a couple of trade cards, but not an awful lot.
Is there a capture age thing that shows? Yeah, it does. There is a capture age thing that shows trade cards. Yeah, they have 36 trade cards to 3.
Where is that capture age thing? I don't even know that.
It's on the one with like the castle TC count, value, gold, killed, lost, and the one that looks kind of like a hat is trade.
Oh yeah, there it is. So indeed, it's actually 40 trade. It doesn't seem like that much. In that case, indeed, clock is ticking really badly for Brawlers. They might have a small shot right now if they can somehow raid their way back into the game, because Viper's Cavalier are all occupied with raiding trade.
Yeah, that's indeed the case. And, well, that's triple trebuchets. I mean, I like that Barles is still doing everything he can to apply the pressure, and we have TaToH switching over into skirmishers.
Hold on. Look at the Paladin numbers now. It's 21 Paladins against 18 Cavalier.
And so 40 light cav. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like 40 units, PogChamp. but they're light cav. Don's game.
Yeah, they aren't really... Well, they're actually pretty decent light cav. But honestly, Viper lost most of his cavalry, and they're still up against 21 Paladin.
Yeah, and that's it's not messing around numbers, and especially as the army becomes comprised more and more of skirmishers and light cav for GLA, that is, the Paladins are going to be even more powerful. Viper able to establish a castle in this really critical hill in the middle of the map, though. That's very nice. And we'll be able to shoot away at those light cav, but, I mean, the Brawlers guys, man, they're just hanging in there.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, they need to establish trade. If they want to win this, they need an extremely long game. And they also need to start raiding GL's trade very heavily, because otherwise Viper's gonna have an easier way back towards Cavalier than it is for Valas. Like, Valas has 3 trade cards, Viper has 28.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there isn't more gold. And there's Scootage! I told you Scootage was gonna matter. That's where you can get some gold if you need it.
And really, like, as weird and wacky that upgrade sounds, it sometimes can be a difference maker. You see Viper's gold trickling in quite nicely overall. So that can help establish a very, very consistent gold income. But here's the big fight on the right side, and TaToH's army could be disappearing in a moment.
Yeah, it is going to be a 2v1 right now. And TaToH's army is kind of sort of evaporating. Where's Viper? What's he up to?
He's getting cap jam himself, but where is TaToH at? TaToH is currently dead, or at least this army is. He's down to 36 military, most of them being skirmishers. He's got a bunch of Chukonu in the castle, but I'm not sure how long that castle's gonna stay up.
At least he's making the switch into Chukonu. We're going to see something other than just archers and cavalry. It's going to be really important as the game goes on, but obviously you're going to need to keep the castle alive. And oh boy, Cheers love the cavalry's here. 52 light cav show up.
Oh man, but I mean, 10 paladins will actually be pretty decent against that many light cav even.
Yeah, you're totally right. Hopefully for GLA's sake, the Chukanu and Skirms and whatever can provide enough supporting fire. Why are the light cav standing around? There you go. Siege Ram's now coming in as well, and that is also going to be another very critical difference maker.
Yeah, exactly. That castle going down could be a problem, and now you're trading light cav to Barles+. There's a need for more heavy cavalry from Valas, but Valas is targeting the castle in the middle, and he's raiding the trade instead, which might actually end up being a bad decision here, because your teammate is losing all the arbs in that castle.
And although they were great in initially setting up their trade, the Brawlers have just really struggled to get good numbers of trade out, as, you know, Viper's been doing such a great job of raiding. I mean, we're looking at, what's that, around almost 90 trade carts versus 30, 45-ish? That's like double.
Yeah, that being said, the ecos are still fairly comparable, but you're right now, Siege Ram's pushing in from TaToH to take down that DC. There's a lot of Chukunus as well. 33 army only for Bars, although most of that is still Arbalest.
Yeah, we also have Onager and Elite War Wagon and even Treadmill Crane coming in. I gotta give credit to Barles for just spamming all these Korean keeps everywhere. He even has arrow slits.
Oh, that is a nice sandwich there, though. It's actually a very, very good sandwich.
I like me a good sandwich. That's a lot of dead Chukonu. Elite Chukonu even, but they're dead regardless.
And also, Siege Rams going down is also pretty expensive for Viper's team. Still, Viper is raiding the left side now with Cavalier. I think the key thing is that Viper is getting back to Cavalier numbers, so the trade is kicking in.
Indeed it is, and that, like you're saying, that should be the big difference maker. Now we have 56 light cav here for Valas. Man, we really do see just these guys so reluctant to switch away from anything other than, you know, their core units. But now we have TaToH working off of 3 castles for Elite Chukonu, and War Wagons, yes, they do clap Chukonu, but you need to get to them. Onager could be, you know, if you can get a huge Onager hit, that might be something. And I love these keeps from Barles, man. It's just like they're creating this line of do not pass.
Yeah, and they're also in the trade as well, so in a very, very long game, there's actually a shot for Barles and Valas, and they actually have the score lead.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising, but, well, honestly, both teams have been pretty active in trying to raid their opponents. Looking at the trade cart numbers, it's still not even close, unfortunately, for Brawlers. It's around double for GL. So,
Oh,
yeah,
look at
now,
those quick walls from TaToH, those saving the trade from the light cap. That is so crucial. I mean,
I don't know if you caught it earlier. Viper also had a similarly amazing quick wall to prevent a light cav raid from running through.
So I feel like now TaToH could be losing castles though, and one thing that TaToH always did was being able to save his castles. But that's the first castle going down rocketry on the way. That's super expensive for TaToH as well. One of the most expensive unique upgrades in the entire game.
It's definitely on the more expensive side.
Do you know what's the most expensive, by the way?
In terms of overall resources, maybe torsion engines?
Yeah, torsion engines. Especially if you do some weighting on that. So you say that gold is a little bit more problematic when it comes to resource cost than wood and food are. Then yeah, torsion engine is the most expensive.
Yeah, definitely. Logistica got, oh, rocketry got cancelled?
I think it might have been the castle that he was using.
Yeah, nice catch, chat.
Look at the bottleneck. Look at the bottleneck that TaToH is having. He's got 15 Shukonus queued up on all of his castles, losing another one. The problem, though, is that the trade is now very exposed to those Shukonus running in there.
TaToH's just trying to create an allegory for the Ever Given Suez Canal problem. You know, he's trying to show what really happens when the Chinese just aren't able to get the the production they need out and into the market of getting past the Middle East and Arabia.
Exactly, and I feel like now we are splitting up things. So Siege from Chukonu should be good enough against Bars, and more importantly, there is Hub and Siege from TaToH, or a Viper on the north. And that is something that Valas won't really be able to react to with just cavalry. He could go throwing Axeman.
Yeah, that Halb switch is actually coming in quite clutch right now. There's no answer to it. And if you're not able to keep up with your opponent in terms of either production speed or quality when it comes to facing Franks or Sicilians, mixing in those Halbs, getting that timing could be really good. We do have that War Wagon switch finally coming in with actually 18 on the field. That's not messing around numbers of War Wagons.
Yeah, but now the trade is slowly going down for Bars and Valas. They have to keep those castles alive, but currently it's 15 Paladin only, and they're on this other side of the map. I feel like currently TaToH is a bit on the back foot now that he lost all his Chukonus, although he's still taking down markets with no one really caring about that, to be honest.
Nah, whoever is firing that arrow in the keep cares about it. But that's it. And it's not a real person because they don't take up any population space.
But indeed, you said that that's actually a scary amount of war wagons marching forward into TaToH's base. Still, I mean, those siege gems are just taking out those markets and keeps so easily, and that could be so easily avoidable.
Yeah. Viper, I guess, trying to start to deal with those elite war wagons, but, I mean, this is just one of the scariest units in the game, and I feel like if Brawlers were just able to get into a little bit more comfortable a position as we now have the engagement happening onto these war wagons, every single war wagon that's lost is so hard to replace. But if they were able to get to a bit more comfortable a position, I mean, I think they should clap in late game, but they just were never quite able to get there.
Yeah. I think the clutch was Viper's raids on the trade early on. Delaying that trade so much helped immensely. And the traps being taken down from Viper as well. Also beautiful unit coordination there. Sniped like 3 traps. And that buys a lot of time for TaToH to survive. And now look at TaToH pushing towards the corner on the right side. And I feel like that's the end of the story because even though there is 32 Paladin from Valas, unless that show up on the right side to clean this entire mess up, as we had a big Onager hit over here from Bars, I feel like if they don't clean up this push on the right side in the next 1 minute, this could be very troublesome.
Yeah, I mean, the military numbers are still competitive, but the quality of army is just going to be plummeting rapidly. Another Onager is coming in. I mean, like, it's okay, but not really enough. And that's a lot of Elite Chuko new. Did they ever get rocketry? No, they did not.
And the castle goes up for TaToH, that's the most important thing to do. And all the war wagons are now gone. Still 102 military against 76. And there is still 30 Paladins on the field with 30 War Wagons. The Brawlers aren't giving up, but as you said, they are really on the back foot.
Yeah, unfortunately, it feels like Brawlers are surviving, but they're not really getting anywhere. They've had their moments, and they've had definitely there are times where they've been outplaying GL, but it just seems like the long game, as we said very early on, has just very much been in favor of GL.
Yeah, TaToH channeling his inner doubt with a cast on the right side that is not going up. But one actually interesting thing to talk about is that both Valas and Barles are very experienced Black Forest players, so they are really resilient when it comes to resigning. They're like, there's always 5 more tiles to fall back to type of a players.
Well, I am impressed that they're still able to keep some sort of semblance of good trade running with the markets just being placed further and further and further back. And I'm, again, even more impressed by Barles able to get to this number of War Wagons with barely any trade. Like, that is really, really sick. But it's numbers.
Yeah, it's numbers. Throwing Axeman on the north, though, coming in from Valas to try and take down the Halberdiers. Viper is now going for 4 Halberdiers on the north and only Cavalier on the south. And honestly, look at those military numbers, look at the eco numbers, and now trade-wise, I mean, GL is still leading, but those trade numbers aren't that bad anymore for the Brawlers.
Yeah, you're totally right. TaToH with 78 trade carts. That is quite a lot, and that Castle of TaToH's goes down. War Wagons are really good, man. I feel like they're the most underrated unique unit.
Rocketry now coming in for TaToH, but only... Well, actually 41 Chukunu is on the field. He might lose that castle before Rocketry comes in.
Oh, I feel like we've seen that story before.
More siege rams from Viper trying to just somehow disrupt the trade of Valas, who is not giving up on the defense on the north.
Yeah, the resilience of these guys is just truly impressive. Viper coming with more Cavaliers, more Halberdiers, and even some more siege rams. And honestly, the fact that both civs of Brawlers miss siege rams could be one of the big issues that they have when it comes to being able to push GL.TaToH going full micro nerd with a couple of camels. Just trying to stay alive.
Oh man, I still feel like Brawler is just unable to touch the eco of the opponent, whereas Viper and TaToH are at least applying some pressure to the trade. Even if it's not an awful lot, they at least do something to disrupt it.
Indeed, indeed. Rocketry was cancelled again, by the way.
I feel like the AoE gods doesn't want to allow TaToH to go for Rocketry, which would be an important upgrade for his Chukunu.
Oh, it's a very important upgrade, especially against the high pierce armor of the Elite War Wagon.
Speaking of that, Chukunus are definitely one of the better units to deal with War Wagons, so if this was just a pure Arbalest civ, like, let's say, Portuguese, they would struggle a lot more against the War Wagons. There is an Onager out.
I mean, War Wagons still kill Chukunu super hard. I mean, Chukunu are way better than Arbalest, but that's just true in general.
The Onager needs to get some hits on the Chukunu,
yeah,
though.
the Onager does really need to get these hits off, though. Maybe even some good Bombard Cannon hits if we want to channel our inner clown.
Onager.
Yeah.
Onager gets one. Still 18 War Wagons in there, but now GL has a much bigger army. But look at the north. Look at that counterattack from Valas.
Very, very nice. Viper is streaming in Halberdiers. Now Viper switching over into crossbow, and this is where I think 2v2 is at its strongest, when you have, like, all players trying to tech in all different directions. You know, you have camels now coming in from the archer player. Archers now coming in from the cav player.
Viper with some very, very nice raids, though. Helps quite a bit swing the eco advantage in their favor once again. But those keeps actually help a lot when it comes to just, you know, slowing down that push with the Cavalier.
Yeah, unfortunately, the keeps in the sort of center-ish of the map have been getting rammed down here by TaToH, so that's not going to be great. And again, it feels like, yes, Brawlers are hanging in there, but they're not actually getting anywhere. At least not anywhere quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the trade is actually almost there for them, by the way. 104 trade for them, 119 for GL, so they finally got back there, but I feel like it's just too late. If we would take a look at the gold income overall throughout the game, we would see a massive advantage for GL.
Also the trade carts are generating 78 gold versus 92 in favor of GLA. So their trade is also better.
Yeah, exactly, because they're not directly in the corner, and now Chukanu's walking into a trade could be a disaster. And markets being deleted immediately to prevent the disaster, but as you said, it is just... they're just not going anywhere in this one. That being said, I mean, they were the massive underdogs of this set, and they definitely delivered at least one extremely entertaining game.
Oh yeah, like this has probably been the best game of the main stage I've seen so far. That's a lot of idle trade carts.
Yeah, that's...
yeah.
Fun fact, Black Forest players have a select all trade cards hotkey in case their trade gets disrupted. So that helps in situations like this.
Yeah.
And with that, GLA takes game number 1. They were leading for most of the game, but I feel like credits to Brawlers for delivering in a very competitive game.
I mean, they played that like one of the top 10 teams in this tournament for sure, and that was a real joy to see.
Yeah, and honestly, even if they were on the back foot after Imperial, if you think about that, before Viper reached Imperial, dead even army numbers, dead even eco. So really, I think Viper being able to intercept that army of Arbs with his fully upgraded Cavalier and then being able to disrupt the trade early on is what came in clutch. Resource-wise, that was actually pretty... oh, look at all those resources. I think that tells a story. So,
look at that trade profit from TaToH.
38k. Viper surprisingly only had 22k trade profit over there. But yes, indeed. Basically, just to compare, TaToH had more trade income than Barles+Valas combined.
And like, but we still saw Barles able to get to that Doom army of war wagons. It just was too late at that point, and the positioning of GL was just in too good a spot.
Yeah, and also worth noting how well TaToH kept his castles alive. Like, there was a castle that kept standing for 10 minutes or so being shelled by Trebs, and that was extremely important because the Chukanus were essential to deal with the war wagons.
Yeah, exactly. Exactamundo.
So with that, we had an absolutely amazing game number 1 here. Let's hope that all of these games will be this competitive, and I'm gonna be super happy about this set.
Oh yeah, I'm certainly having no complaints after that game.
So with that, it looks like Chinese Sicilians will be gone for GLA. Frank's Koreans lost for Brawlers, and now we're going for Natsukotra or Cape of Storms. I would say that you should prefer Natsukotra here, because the thing is that Cape of Storms is a map that GL loves to play. They played it in 2+1 all the time, so that could be something to consider.
Well, we shall see. Yeah, I've been really loving the civ diversity we've been seeing so far. It's been Natsukotra.
It is Natsukotra. Indeed, we don't have Aztecs for this one, so no clown gameplay.
Not today.
So let me jump into the game, and then we can get going. If Capturage wants to cooperate.
Yeah, I'm at 22 seconds actually because Capturage was being uncooperative when it comes to pausing.
Yeah. It looks like we have a bit of a technical difficulty, but not a big deal. We'll actually sort it out in a moment. But indeed, it is Natsukotra, and our civs will be Incas, Khmer, Burgundians, and lastly, I am at 54 seconds, so I'm gonna pause there.
Okay.
For you.
I even restarted my my rec because Capturage was being so uncooperative. Okay, I'm at 54 seconds as well.
All right, so let's go 3, 2, 1. And we will have Incas for TaToH in blue, a civilization that is extremely good when it comes to, just villager rushing, but this map has 0 stone. On Natsukota, you only start with 20 even. Viper will be playing Khmer in green, I like that quite a bit. And we will have Bars Britons in yellow and the Burgundians for Valas in red.
Interesting set of civs here. Burgundians, I feel like, they would rather be in situations where they can just chill and sit back a bit more. This is obviously a much more aggressively oriented map. And then Britons, I feel like, are absolutely amazing here. We saw that yesterday. Khmer are just always good. And Incas with no stone, like you were saying, I do find it to be a bit odd. But they still have Eagle Warriors. They can still be aggressive. You can even use the market if need be.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's see how much the Master of Socotra experience from Gamer Legion members will come in here. It looks like no one is actually going for some laming so far, which is very surprising. You can definitely send villagers to lame huntables and whatnot. And this is the first home map of Brawlers, so I'm curious what their game plan is here, because if they want to win, then they gotta win with a good game plan. Valas also has a beautiful hunt, both of his deer patches, so you get 2 deer patches of 4 deer each, or well, ostrich and zebra. But for Bars, as he's bringing in... Valas is actually laming Viper here, and he will be successful doing so.
Very nicely done. And those elephants are very, very close to the TC here for Valas, who just has a zoo, apparently. He built his base in a zoo.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can mill that huntable patch so well. Instead of making 2 mills on the 2 different patches or pushing in one, milling the other, this is an excellent mill position here. But guess what? Viper and TaToH are here to take revenge for that lamed huntable, as there is no loom just yet for Valas. Valas keeps that scout alive, which is extremely important at this point, but they will need the help of Bars' scout here, I believe.
Yeah, these villagers are quite scared, just trying to chop trees for their lives. But with Loom coming in, I really think that Valas should be totally fine. Even going to start walling up. Here is the Brawlers. Because nothing screams aggressive map like, 5.5 minute walls. Because that's how I like to play aggressive maps. And also defensive maps. And water maps.
It looks like we have a bit of a pinging here on the north from Viper and TaToH. I wonder if they want the sneaky villager, which would be something that you consider. But indeed, the start here for Valas was extremely good. Let's see if he squeezes in some eco upgrades in Dark Age, because that is very, very possible for him, especially with the extra food that he has gotten, like an early bit axe or so. He's 5 on wood, by the way, so super duper heavy on wood he is.
I think this is to make sure he can afford all of the walls as we have the Brawlers players meet in the middle with they're saying, you know what, we're going to take 40% of the map, and this is our 40% of the map, and you're not coming in.
Oh, it is actually a nice move from Viper to yoink the scout of Valas over there. Hurts a little bit, but not something that really is problematic. And it looks like Viper tries to block that elephant over there, but nope. That's too short lure distance. That's just too short. And the villager also had loom, so that's not gonna work that way either.
Indeed. Just speaking about Burgundians, though, for a second, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I feel like MBL plays Burgundians better than any other top player. It seems like he plays the Civ a lot, and he looked like really good playing them yesterday.
Wait a second, there is a hole. There is a hole, and look at the eagle of TaToH. He knows exactly there's a hole. He should move away from there. Because that definitely seems like a hole, and Valas doesn't really know. He's adding double layers. If he right-clicks to the outside with anything, you should be able to check there is a hole.
And you should 100% be doing that. When you're committing this much to walls, you really need to commit. Like, make sure you know that there is no hole.
Yeah, all you have to do is select the villager, right-click to the outside, and it's going to find a hole. So, it would be a disaster if they let that hole being open. And it would be a massive misplay, to be honest, from Barles+Valas. It looks like Viper is just going to go for his own little small wall. Same for TaToH, so they won't team wall here.
Indeed. Can I just give a quick shout-out, though, to the lumber camp of Barles? That's such a nice lumber camp. It's, like, in the woods.
Yeah, you can definitely land some nice lumber camp spots on this map. And
yeah.
Viper is now camping that. Let's see if Valas sees it. It's not an easily visible hole, but...
No, and it's not even close to any building, so it's not like there's really any reason that you would ever go there.
It looks like they won't notice. And such a thing can lose you a game. And honestly, this will be a hard-earned lesson to always check for holes on your walls. I mean, it's third layer coming in, and... Oh my. It's a combination of elevation here, and... Like, it's basically just elevation that makes it look weird. Okay.
Yep.
And look at that, Viper is going for scouts immediately. He's going for scouts, and if Viper is smart, he's going to wait, like, until he has 4 or 5 scouts. And...
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
Stonewall's even coming in here from TaToH. Gotta make use of that Inca stone discount. Get your 20 stone a little bit further.
And... oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Howdy ho!
Like, this could be a massive throw from Barles and Valas. Also worth noting that Valas is going for a lot of farms without Horse Color. With Burgundians, you don't want to see that. And honestly, that Barrack spot might help a lot for Valas, because that helps with the contingency walls, at least. Look at that army being assembled. And now they are like, okay, how did these guys get in? This is the moment when Valas is going to notice, and he's like...
Vipey.
Oh, shoot, man. I can hear an internal scream, and look at that. He's sending the Voyagers there immediately.
Oh.
He knows exactly that if there is a hole, it's there. All he needed to do is just make sure that that hole doesn't exist. And look at that. How Viper is blocking that. Oh my goodness, this could have been so avoidable. And I feel like if they lose this game, they deserve it so badly, because... I mean...
Yeah, this is honestly kind of inexcusable.
Yeah.
I mean, holes and walls are one thing, but if literally your entire early game strategy on this map is just centered around, like, triple layers of walls, you can't have a hole, man. You gotta check.
Yeah. Just for comparison, on coaching sessions that are aimed for 1300 rated people, they say, check for holes. Not for 2k rated people, for 1300. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure in these players, you know...
Well, I mean, to be fair, you know, yesterday I went for Mass War Elephants in a 1v1 at 1700, so, I mean, I don't think anything really applies.
Yeah, but you're totally right about the fact that this is an inexcusable mistake, so to say. It can cost you a game in a situation like this, because... Like, it seems like they will survive for now, but the hole is still open because there is a hole in between the barracks and the house. So, I'm fairly certain there is a hole there.
Between the corner? Like the back corner of the barracks and the house that might be completely walled?
And Valas lost 5 villagers. All because he didn't check for the hole. Oh my goodness, that hurts so badly. And I mean... They will survive, but any kind of advantage that they had is absolutely gone.
Yeah. It's just... You're scrambling at this point.
Yeah, and just like the previous game, they have good moves, but one bad mistake can actually lose you the game. And I mean, Valas actually had an extra boar over the opponent. He had a perfect deer spawn. Everything was set for an excellent start, and then this disaster strikes them. And I mean, look at that. 2 more villagers go down from Barles as well on his gold mine, because those scouts from Viper are still around.
Yeah, it's just... On the one hand, yes, it is their fault, but you just feel so bad for those guys.
I don't feel bad for them, man. Learn to check for holes. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, but, I mean... Just because it's their fault doesn't mean it's not pitiable.
Oh man. Anyways, at the end of the day, they are behind by 12 villagers, but they are going up to Castle Age faster than their opponents, and that's something to consider, that GL went for full Feudal Age aggression as the scouts come back. Nice quick wall so far from Valas. I just jinxed him so badly. And Viper has Bloodlines.
That one's on you, Lee.
Viper has Bloodlines +1/+1. You don't fight this with villagers.
You can stick a fork in this game.
Yeah, it's over. Well-deserved defeat, I have to say. Because that is not how things should have done. Oh man, that hurts so much. I mean, on one side I indeed feel bad for them because it would have been great to see what their game plan is for this game, but on the other hand, you deserve to lose like this for a mistake like that.
Yeah. Oh, Viper even targeting the low HP villager and running away. Oh, salt the
Oh man,
wound.
exactly. So unless they're actually able to salvage something out of this one with a couple of knights, I mean, fast Cavalier for Valas, but he doesn't even have a single knight.
Yes, the one cavalier will save the day. Can I offer you a cavalier in these trying times?
No, well, there is no Cavalier, it's just the upgrade itself.
Oh, he's gonna have like one cavalier. It's on 26 fills.
You know, it's like, it's something.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, I think there might be a part of that Viper's Woe that's still single layer. So, there's a chance that these crossbows can do something here. They have to do a lot. Like, Barles has to carry Valas here very, very heavily because if you take a look at the overall ecos, Gamer Legion is massively ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, we have the cavalier. We have the cavalier.
Alright, so Cavalier, but only scale barding armor coming in now. I mean, at least they stabilized. And I feel like once again they could drag this out to late game, just like they did in the previous game, if they don't make any more big mistakes. The problem is that they just shot themselves in the foot so badly. So, really...
Viper's going for elephants, Lita.
Oh no.
This game is not going to late game.
Oh no. Viper. Viper, don't do this. We can talk about this, man. Don't do this to us. Oh boy.
I actually think it's perfect on this map with very limited mobility.
I mean, it's perfect on this map for the Khmer elephants. Like, you don't need mobility, you need like raw brute force power.
It's actually really smart because you also are like kind of behind in numbers, and like going for your own knights against enemy cavalier is not something that's going to be amazing. Still is going to need a few more battle elephants. He does have +2 defense, probably going to want to grab husbandry still. Oh, and indeed, he's doing just that.
Viper also bought himself a second TC, so his eco is going to skyrocket compared to everybody else who doesn't have an additional TC. And that's a problem for the Polish-Finnish mixed team that... Look at that trap. Viper is coming from the elephant from the south, and there is the crossbows from TaToH from the north.
No ballistics in quite yet here for TaToH, but shouldn't really matter too much. There is a monk.
Yeah, and TaToH's crossbows, I think TaToH will try to snipe it off,
yeah.
But you have to control that monk very, very nicely over there to be able to avoid that. But really, at this stage, 2 TCs for Viper is a massive lead over the opponent, even if the ecos were even. And once again, I feel like Barles and Valas have stabilized, but their early loss actually hurts them so much that they will still be on the back foot.
And this is even more true on this map, as you were alluding to, because most players are going to be on 1 TC, so if you fall behind in villagers, you're never getting that eco back. Because, well, you're just all producing from 1 TC, except for Viper, who's even more ahead of you.
I feel like here, the only way I see this working for Valas is if he actually runs into the opponent's base with the Cavalier. That could be pretty dangerous. It's a gamble, but I feel like you have to take a gamble when you're this much behind. So, that also buying himself a second TC. And I really feel that if you run in with the Cavalier, mobility is a problem for TaToH's team, and they could hit the wood line of TaToH, killing 10-15 villagers, and that's exactly what they are doing.
Well, there are 5 elephants at home, but elephants not really the greatest defensive unit in the world, as they just, they're huffing and puffing, trying to catch up. But the monk actually won't really be able to get in as well, because the town center will shoot at it. And on the other side, I mean, we could be right-clicking TCs at this point.
Yeah, and one of the things that the elephants also excel at is taking down TCs. And I did mention that such a raid could be amazing from Valas, but not at the price of entirely losing his starting base.
Yeah, that's not great.
Oh, Valas is so dead. So, like, at this point, he's got barely any economy working for him. No farming, no gold income. And that just leads nowhere. Once again, they're in a position where they are not completely dead, but they're going nowhere in this game.
Hold on. Look at Barles' scout. It's like in the middle of the freaking... It's in Lothlorien at this point. It got all the way to the edge of the map.
Oh no. Oh, the magic of auto-scouting, man.
Yeah, seriously.
If there is one way to tell that this is auto-scouting, is Barles scouting this part of the map, which is just full of trees.
Completely useless.
Oh, it looks like quick walls will fail here for Barles as well. Desperately trying to save his villagers in these little narrow causeways.
Now he's trying to go to Mirkwood because he's trying to go to the northeast. Oh, man.
Yeah, but look at the ecos now. It's 30 villagers lead for Gamer Legion, both of them being on 2 TCs. Second TC coming up as well for Barles, but unless this is a very, very long game for the Brawlers, I don't see it working out for them.
Yeah, it's unfortunately just not something you can come back for. Viper, even with the third town center coming in, and you just can't fight these elephants.
Honestly, I feel like Khmer here makes some sense if you think about the fact that they have a strong overall eco. And when you have a strong overall eco, you can afford much easier to buy TCs for yourself. As opposed to, let's say, Byzantines that don't have a good eco. That's a nice cleanup, though, from the Brawlers.
These guys, man, they are so resilient.
I mean, I understand they don't want to lose their home map, but if only they haven't lost 10-15 villagers to that single hole. Imagine how competitive this game could be if they weren't behind by, like, a massive margin already.
Yeah. And honestly, I hope that Brawlers aren't broken mentally by that hole. Because if they can keep their composure together and just go to their last home map, they still very much have a shot in the series, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely, but even if not in this series, we have to keep in mind that this is GSL group stage, and the other 2 teams in this group is Nilly and Jordan and ACCM and Say My Name. Honestly, both of these teams are, or both of those teams should be weaker than Viper and TaToH, and if the Brawlers play like this is going to be a tough group.
Yeah, this is actually... that's very tough to call between these other 3 teams. I mean, I think, yeah, GLA is the favorite, always has been, but could be big.
Nice surround, once again with the Cavalier. It's just the eco deficit now, so...
Well, TaToH was trying to go for the monk snipes, and he was successful in doing so, and man, turns out elephants are good in a straight-up fight.
Well, who would have thought, right? Viper now on 3 TCs, and I mean, TaToH is imping behind this one. This game was just too far gone.
Yeah. Alas.
So...
Wait, is Viper even getting another town center?
Oh man, the big boomer, man. Look at this person. Going for like 4 TCs on a map that doesn't have stone. Speaking of that...
It's what happens when you have Ornlu write scripts for your videos. You say that, oh, hey, you know, Chimera, great for just going 4 TCs no matter what.
Nice find over there, once again from the Brawlers, picking off all those crossbows, and even though TaToH is gonna be imp, he won't have an awful lot of crossbows to work with. Oh man, I feel sad for Barles+Valas now.
Now you do.
Yeah, I feel bad because, once again, they are playing very good in the second half of this game. It's just the first part going so badly for them that there is no way to come back from that deficit.
Yeah.
And Viper buys a castle, man.
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
Now I need to see a ballista elephant to cut through that little tree line, so you have an easier time getting into the enemy base.
Oh man, he bought a castle. For reference, the stone price is probably around 150 right now. In fact, the stone price is...
Can you see that?
Not in Capture, but I switched to the game. It takes 216 gold to buy 100 stone. Which means that this castle is worth about 1,500 gold.
And he's still able to click up to Imp.
Oh man. This game is so over. And I mean, just imagine what Barles is thinking about a castle in his face on such a map where, I mean, you're not even supposed to have castles.
Well, clearly Viper doesn't care about what you are supposed to have in an Age of Empires game. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like
actually, TaToH just opening the gate, but that actually might be a little bit of a double-edged sword as
that's
the
actually better
upgrade's
for
about
him.
to come in.
Because those Cavalier don't have +4, and he's gonna lose a couple of crossbows, but when Racer kicks in, he cleans up that army. And, I mean, there will be 2 Castle Age players against 2 Imperial Age players. And, like, worst case scenario for TaToH and Viper is that the Arbalest will just pick off the crossbows in the long run.
Yep, it'll also be even better for picking off monks.
Fun fact, the range of those arcs is still even to those crossbows because it's Britain crossbows, as Viper is just switching into a SAR spam. No one actually bothered collecting relics so far. And
That I'm quite surprised by. Normally the GL guys are really good about doing that.
yeah, especially considering that this map doesn't have a lot of mineable gold, and more importantly, there's a lot of relics on this map, so you could pick up 3-4 easily.
And trade is awful on this map.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, the Brawlers are not giving up, but I feel like when they see Viper and Imp, although Barles is imping himself, once again, they're
Yeah,
so resilient. But no,
over.
that's the game over. I feel... It's so weird. I feel bad for them because for just such a small mistake, they lost the game. And really, the second half of the game was very competitive from them, but they fell so much behind because of that hole. On the other side, that's a hole that you should never ever allow to happen.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that eco difference is absolutely staggering.
So, I mean, you can also clearly see the moment when those scouts and archers got into the eco of Brawlers. Just a massive drop
Oh yeah.
in the population share of Barles+Valas. Almost double the resources in this one. And with that, game number 2 in the hands of Gamer Legion. But really, at this point, for Barles+Valas, I feel like it's about just gaining some confidence, to be honest, because it starts to slowly seem that GLA is a bit too much for them to handle. Which raises the question of, you know, you're probably going to try and focus on winning against Vietnam or GLC, Nilly and Jordan, and those will be some insanely competitive series if Brawlers play like this. So I'm definitely positively surprised about them.
Yes. It's weird to think that you see someone going down 0-2 and you're like, you know what? That losing team played really well. But it's, you know, when you're up against Viper and TaToH, that's exactly what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, there is no shame losing to Viper and TaToH, but we have one more game, and I mean, the level of play is there for Barles+Valas to make it very competitive. It's just small mistakes, or sometimes bigger ones, deciding games. So maybe they have a shot at turning this one back, but they have to play crystal clean if they want to have more than one game in this set.
Indeed, indeed. Well,
All right.
I am all loaded up into the next one whenever you are ready.
I'm at 9 seconds.
I'm at 10 seconds.
Now I'm at 10 as well, so let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the intro.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that.
Remember how it's you know, your tournament?
Yeah, okay. We're gonna have Vikings for TaToH in a blue as flank, and we're all gonna have Viper as a Turks in a green. It is very, very frequent to see Turks on this map being used because of their extra pierce armor on their light cav. Other side, we're gonna have Valas as Bulgarians in red, which I think is a bit of a one-trick pony sif for this map with the Men-at-Arms opening. And then we'll have Lithuanians for Bars in yellow, which is an absolute beast here for a fast dog play, for all the relics in the middle, and also the beautiful lumber camp that Bars actually went for.
Oh, isn't it another beautiful Barles lumber camp? Oh, yes, it is. It's like the anti-doubt lumber camp. It's just so much value. Anyway, what do you think about the Viking play from TaToH? I'm kind of surprised. I feel like Vikings would be amazing in the quote-unquote pocket here. Because you know, you have more time to get up into your castle age. You can maybe even go for a bit more water play and maybe go for some longboats or something like that.
Yeah, longboats would be interesting, that's for sure, but I feel like Vikings here will just be your general purpose archer civilization.
Yep. That is also certainly a possibility. And of course, Vikings also with a very strong men-at-arm rush, getting that extra HP.
So,
but I do think Bulgarians are also going to be quite strong. Yeah, they're kind of a one-trick pony men-at-arms civ, but that doesn't mean... that's like saying scouts are a one-trick pony... or Franks are a one-trick pony scout civ. I mean, like, it's so good that it's not like... you can just say, oh, okay, they're going to go for that, so I'm going to hard counter it.
on the other hand, it's very interesting to see how frequently Turks are used. This is a very interesting comparison compared to 2+1. 2+1 Turks was an awful civilization, with basically only used on Ridgeside Fortress for Janissaries and then camels. And the minor change of getting some extra pierce armor on the light cav means that now they're actually viable as a cavalry civ. In fact, we have seen them very frequently on Arabia as well. So it's your general purpose scout civ now, as Viper is gonna go for a dock here. Dock is well for TaToH. The reason why I don't necessarily like this map for brawlers, to be honest, is because GL is just so good at it. I'm not sure. I think the main reason why Barles+Valas chose this map is because they don't know how good GL is on this one. But this was, I think, the best home map from Gamer Legion in 2+1. Look at that dog spot from Valas, though. That villager can, I think, actually take that deep fish, right?
No, because there's a shorefish in the way that she can take.
What? Are we talking about Valas's dock?
Yeah, there's a shorefish.
Is there a shorefish there?
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
Like if you just select it, you'll see, or group over it, you'll see that there are 2 boxes, and the shorefish are getting taken first.
Oh, I see. It's actually 2 fish on a single tile. Interesting. Yep. That's why you don't lose food from the tuna here, because there's actually a tile of shorefish over here as well. Big fish colony over there.
Fleta, flash fish gathering. If there are multiple tiles of fish, you can grab, like multiple fish stacked on top of each other, they can take from multiple fish at once.
Oh, man. It looks like we will have Valas running into a TC fire over here, eating some damage. Not necessarily a good start for him. Also worth noting that Bars is going to have a crazy fast feudal here. This map you have 3 elephants to take, which means that you have a very, very good early food eco, especially with Lithuanians, with the extra food and the fish. It looks like there is 1 boar left for both players from Bars and the Valas, so apparently they don't really bother bringing in boar number 3. As on the other side, it looks like Viper is not bringing his 3rd boar either. TaToH did, apparently. He's out of boars.
I thought all the players were out of boars, considering that they're rhinoceroses.
I mean,
and
it's
elephant.
actually rhino and elephant, so it is a difference, by the way, because rhinos attack faster, so they're a little bit harder to lure.
I thought rhinos and elephants were identical.
Not sure about rhinos and elephants, but rhinos are more dangerous than boars.
Yes. They also have more food on them. 400 versus 340.
So, yeah, the early food eco here is usually pretty strong, and it looks like Valas is gonna go as the last player to feudal age. His start wasn't necessarily ideal. I mean, he wants fast men-at-arms, but it's probably gonna be more like a slow men-at-arms. If you consider the fact that Viper and TaToH are also up to feudal, it looks like TaToH's gonna have an interesting barrack spot over here, and they would just do team wars. Something that most teams do in this case. Since TaToH's up to feudal faster, he's just gonna pick off Valas' scout over here. And with that being said, men-at-arms are now coming in for Valas. And it looks like we will have probably scouts from Bars.
Yep. But not just men-at-arms coming in from Valas. We're looking at 5 men-at-arms.
Well, that kind of explains why he is going for a late feudal age. But I mean, by the time those men-at-arms get there, TaToH's gonna have like 3-4 archers out.
Yeah, not too sold on this one, to be honest. If you have like an insanely good start, and that's certainly possible with having fish and 3 rhinos or elephants, maybe going up in like 22 pop and going in with like 5 men-at-arms. Sometimes we used to see like Aztecs do that if they got a lame and had all their deer and stuff like that. But yeah, this just seems like it's going to be running into a wall.
Like, literally. And the pop-up forest will also be walled off. If there weren't any archers, these men-at-arms would do quite a lot of damage here, because they could just take down the stable if you don't fight them, but 2 archers behind the stable should be able to scare them away.
They will actually take down that stable fairly quickly. So, I mean, TaToH needs to marshal these archers, like, now. Like, shoota!
Yeah, he needs to kind of do that. One villager repairing should be able to delay those met-arms for now, and I don't think that the stable goes down at all. We'll have some interesting team votes for Barles+Valas.
Viper just lost a scout for free, that's a little sloppy.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision, because it wasn't necessarily needed to fight that one by any means.
Well, I mean, the scout just came out of the stable, and then was just idling there, and then auto-attacked in the men-at-arms. I don't think that was much of a decision.
Yeah, on the other hand, we'll have fire galleys coming in here for Viper. No combat ships whatsoever from Barles+Valas. The 2 pocket players are going for double dogs both. There's 1 fire galley from Bars, as he's trying to take the hill, or the wave, to be precise. And this is why Viper is going to have to fight on water as well. Viper losing some fishing eco here.
Now, I was having a discussion with my chat the other day. I don't think that fire galleys benefit from the hill bonus, because they don't have a high enough attack. But I'm not too sure.
Honestly, I have absolutely no clue about that. I think they do.
Well, let's see.
It's a matter of...
No, don't send another one, Viper. I need to learn this for science. No, I don't think they do.
Yeah, it could be very possible. It depends if, like, you actually record fraction damage. So you either deal 5 damage or 5.2. If you record fraction damage, then it should matter. If you only use integers as damage, then it shouldn't matter.
Pete in my chat says that hill bonuses don't matter for fire galleys, and he is a clownfish, so I'm going to take his word for it.
Yeah, makes some sense. Well, for galleys it could still matter, and, you know, the aesthetics.
Well, I mean, it definitely matters for galleys, and even matters for demos. And of course it makes the map look pretty.
With that being said, we have a full wall coming in here for Barles+Valas, so they can focus on full booming. However, they kind of close out all the relics here as Viper is pinging his own fire galleys. As well, this will be spotted by Bars, so he knows what to prepare for. Ecos are dead even, and I have to say that Barles+Valas have a good, at least a fairly good game plan here. I'm not a fan of Bulgarians, but I understand the concept. The problem is that you're seeing Bulgarian archers here from Valas, which will be troublesome.
Especially if you're up against Viking archers, which are very good. And that's already 1 more dead villager here for Valas. Although we do have Barles able to squeeze his way up to Castle Age. I mean, Lithuanians are just so strong on hybrid maps.
Valas actually losing another villager. He's having a bit of a trouble at getting wood for himself, interestingly. And it seems like his reaction was a little slow to those archers, because he was jumping around the wheels for so long. He lost like 2 more.
Oh man, that is very unfortunate. Looks like everyone is now up on the way to Castle Age, though. We're just having Barles being a little bit faster in doing so, but a 10 villager lead for Gamer Legion A right now. That's insane.
And keep in mind that they both have wheelbarrow as well. There is no wheelbarrow for Barles+Valas. And it looks like the fire galleys of Viper will just sneak past Bars' fire galley here, so they are already hitting his fishing eco.
Yeah, Viper has 16 fishing ships.
Oh, the boomer.
50 villagers.
Oh, the big boomer here. And this map, as open as it looks like, and this is a very open map if you think about it, with all these acacia trees, and so, as open this map is, this can turn into a big booming often. And, as you said, that's a massive eco lead for Gamer Legion right now.
Yep. And Oh, that's actually triple ranges and a second stable coming in, so they don't want
Cav
to go
Archer!
full
Cav Archer!
Cav Archer?
I mean, what else do you do with Valas here? You don't go crossbows, that's for sure, with Bulgarians, so it's gotta be Cav Archer. If it was skirmishers, he would already start making skirms right now. It's gotta be Bulgarian Cav Archers.
Oh, yeah, well, Bulgarians can do Cav Archers just fine. I mean, you can't go for crossbowmen, and your Cav Archers are pretty solid, so why not?
Absolutely, and you see Castle Age and Cav Archer immediately queued up. The problem is numbers right now, especially with Viper going aggro with a Siege Workshop. TaToH already bringing in the crossbows. How do you hold against like 16 crossbows in the Mangonel when you only have like 5-6 Cav Archers? Fast University coming in here for ballistics.
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, this is just always the struggle with opening Cav Archers, is the crossbowman guy is going to have way more crossbowmen way faster.
And the way that this game shapes out, mobility isn't really a big factor, because it's a one direct engagement here in the middle. We're waiting for knights from... Oh, Viper breaks in with some light cav. Turks getting the free light cav upgrade helps quite a bit here. He has quite a lot of HP on those still, and he has 5 pierce armor on them, which will also be great for soaking up arrow fire from Valas' Cav Archers.
Indeed it will. Nice quick wall from... No, well, okay, that one's on me. Ripperino.
You just jinxed Bars here so badly.
Yeah, that's my fault, I'm sorry.
Fast Thumbring is in for Valas, but he couldn't actually finish that university. And it is 31 crossbows against merely 8 Cav Archers. That's the drawback of direct Cav Archer opening.
Yeah, that's why civs like Huns and Tatars are really the only civs that can make that work consistently, because the free thumb ring just means that your Cav Archers are much more useful in low numbers because they hit their shots, and of course Huns can mass them up more easily. But even if other civs have, like, you know, pretty reasonable Cav Archers, like say Turks, it's still hard to make those openings work. And
that was a beautiful snipe from Bars, sniping off the Mangonel from the opponent. But Viper techs into Fire Ship even, and now he's pushing the fishing eco of Bars and Valas. Losing that fishing eco would mean that they fall behind even more so. They're down by 23 wheels.
Yeah, this is looking a little one-sided, unfortunately. Especially considering how game number 1 went, I think it's quite unfortunate. We do have Barles trying to go for some relics right now, but even have gill nets coming in for both of the GL players.
Yeah, but even if you pick up 2 relics here, you would basically have a +2/+2 knight equivalent. That's the main problem. So it's not like you have +5 or so. That being said, I feel like this is a bittersweet defeat for Bars and Valas, if it really is going to be a defeat, which seems likely currently. Because I think it showed that they can play really well, they have some good game plans. They need to have crystal clean gameplay to have a chance, but I feel like when you look at the group stage, seeing this group with Vietnam A, ACCM and Saban, Viper, TaToH, Nilly, Jordan, and this team, you probably don't expect the Brawlers to win the group. So for them, the goal is probably number 2 spot.
Trying to surround these crossbowmen from TaToH, but TaToH just has way too many. And that should be the series right here, I think. I'm fairly sure. I'm, like, reasonably confident.
Yeah, at this point, it's 44 army against 16. No fishing eco at all, and look at the TC from Valas going down.
Yeah,
and with that, I feel like the Brawlers had some very, very good gameplay. They definitely exceeded my expectations, especially game number 1.
Yeah.
They need to play crystal clean, but mark my words. Like, when I looked at the groups, I was like, okay, I think Gamer Legion A should have no trouble winning this group. And then it's going to be between Nilly and Jordan versus ACM and Saban to decide who is second place. Bars and Valas might have some things to say about that. And, to be honest, this is a super open group for the second place. And the top 2 teams from each group move on. Which means that Bars and Valas, even though they lost 3-0, I think they can feel confident that they made this series somewhat competitive, especially game number 1, against the strongest team, not necessarily just in their group, maybe in the tournament. We never know if Gamer Legion A is the strongest team right now, in this map pack, in these settings.
We'll know by the end of the tournament.
Yeah, we'll know by the end. But there is no shame losing to Viper and TaToH 3-0. I feel like if Barles+Valas keep playing on this level, they have the skill set to beat ACCM and Say My Name or Nilly and Jordan. So they are aiming for that second spot. Don't count them out just yet.
Definitely don't. And if you missed game number 1, I would recommend everyone to go back and watch that one because that was a gem of a game.